Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, we're going to do a different intro this time because this young man, Loki, I have a lot of respect for him and I want you all to believe the same way he does. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let Loki play in the background. This is, he doesn't need any plugging by me. The young man is an artist within his own right, and he has gained the recognition as a European artist and has gotten a lot of people's attention, especially with the Obama video. A lot of his videos are censored because he speaks truth. So I've listened to Low Key. I know you guys thought at the beginning I was going to go, Helen, hey woman, get on in here. Well, no, that's not going to happen this time. But this is the young man's track that I did the intro with. And I just like the way the song is done. And I like the stuff this young man speaks about. Now, I'll have to do this over if he curses because I haven't heard this song in 2.5 years. And all of the songs that I play on my videos, you notice that there is no cursing and there is no major talk about any type of violence or sexual activity. Got to keep this stuff clean. But Low Key is one of those artists who does that on a regular basis. Look, what I want to do today is I want to go ahead and just talk. I don't. I think some of you will say, "Well, that's all you ever do." No, I want to talk. I want to be real with everyone. We're going to talk about several things, including the video that I made yesterday. That's about 2 hours long. That video talks about several developments that came along the way during this so-called adventure. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, look at it, I'm actually saying the same words of this song. That's why I chose it. I wanted to do I'm back with LL Cool J and the SWAT theme, but I haven't had time to download it, so you guys will have to hear that one later. But this one, Low Key, he was the perfect person to introduce myself back to all of you again. Now I'm gonna lower Low Key. Anyway, I'm gonna lower that because I want to go to another artist who, and I'm gonna, gotta pause it. I want to go to a young man who is no longer with us. His name was Richard Dimplesfield. Oh, that's my boy! Anyway, I know some of you guys, this brings back a lot of memories. And so we're going to let Richard and Mariah Carey and Luther Vandross and the Staple Singers and Johnny Gill, Whitney Houston, Kenny Lattimore, Michael Jackson, Donny Hathaway, Ray Charles, who else? I know I'm mentioning a lot. And the Manhattans. Whew, can't forget the Manhattans or Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight. That's my girls. Them two right there. And Dionne Warwick is with them. She ain't too much my girl. Then we got Stevie Wonder with Ray Charles, Betty Wright. No pain, no gain. Ain't no that other song that she does, I can't play that. That would not be culture. Um, I play Richard Dimplefield in the background for a reason. I've been waiting to play Richard. Richard died, I believe it was 2006. And this young man was my brother in so many ways. I remembered finding out that Richard Dimplefield was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And it was through this song that I gained that understanding. It's at the end of the song, well, technically the whole song is about our current environment, current situation, mankind's plot, our plot and plight. Might as well have a plot, huh? It's the plot that thickens. Like I said, I just want to talk. There's been so much going on. I'm in an environment right now. When I was placed out of that facility known as the detention center, Metropolitan Detention Center at Guaynabo, Puerto Rico. Technically, it's in Catano, but it's Guaynabo that it carries the name. That's the name that's on it. Metropolitan Detention Center, Guaynabo. And no, I will not spell the word for you because it is not pronounced the way it's spelled. Okay? Give you guys, like I said, we're over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk. There'll be an opportunity for some of you to come and meet with us so that we can help you gain a better understanding of what's going on and for us to prove many of the things that we've been talking about. You know me, if I can't prove it, I'm not going to talk about it. And I found that many of us were talking about a lot of junk that we should not have been talking about because we couldn't prove it. We decided to follow the leader. We decided to talk about things because somebody else had an idea. There was so much that when I tested it out, yes, I actually tested every single theory, every single thought, every single technique, every single method. I tested it all out. But I also tested another thing out. I tell people that I trust the God that I serve. And I don't care about whether or not people like the name Jehovah or they don't like the name Jehovah. If it wasn't for me using his name and saying that I'm one of his servants, one of his witnesses, then I would tell all of you where to go. Those of you who have an opinion as to whether or not my God is who he claims to be. You know, and it's been bugging me, and so I've been wanting to do a video like this for quite some time. We're going to let, you know what, Richard, we're going to let you talk to him for a second in just a moment. And he's going to pretty much say the same thing that I'm getting ready to say to all of you. And so what if you...
I don't want to watch his videos anymore. Did you hear what he said in that first video he produced without anybody else in the video? Putting up low-key, that was a high part, but when he started talking about, oh, Lordy.
Ladies and gentlemen, oh, you thought I changed. You thought that them doing that to me was going to cause me to be different? People, if I were to change, it would have to be for the better. And there are some things that I did change about myself. Patience. I had to learn patience. That was one of the main reasons for that, but it was also for me to regain my focus as to what's more important. And what I definitely must advise everybody, I have to, because it would be wrong for me not to. The Legal Redress Commission and the Redress Right Organization, I cannot begin to tell you all how proud I am of what's been accomplished over the last 2 years without me being present, in my absence, without my input. Every single thing, as I stated in the last video that was recorded by Ron, all of the videos Ron has been putting together, ladies and gentlemen, I tried to tell him, don't put so much hours into these videos, it will consume you. And sure enough, he drank the Kool-Aid. My name is Brett Jones, not Jim Jones, but he drank the Kool-Aid anyway. Okay? And now he is hooked. He's addicted. Every day I call him, I'm still working on this video, man. I'm still working on this video, man. A month later, man, I'm still working on this video. Okay, so that's to let you know that you're in good hands. You're in good hands. A man after my own heart who has quite literally did everything that I had envisioned the commission doing. And I cannot say that I am disappointed, dissatisfied, unhappy with a single thing that was done. Everything that was done by Ron and the rest of the commissioners to this point was necessary for us to get to this point. You see, if I had been worried about the commission and about that organization and about these videos and about you all while I was in there, I never would have been able to endure. I had to focus. And that was the main point. I had to focus. But I was also given an opportunity to draw closer to the God that I serve. Now, the reason why I keep coming back to that, and while I'm going to let Richard talk to you in a minute about it, and I'm going to shut up while he talks because I like the way his grandmother told him. Jehovah is the only God who named himself. Go ahead. Do the research. You find me anyone or anything that named themselves without someone giving them a name prior. Go ahead, I dare you. Not one single creature, being, God, devil, anything you can create in your own head, named itself prior to someone else naming it. Go ahead. I dare you to find one. But no, he didn't just stop there. He produced his words in writing. He could have done it on television. He could have talked from the sky to every single human throughout all eternity. And that would have been redundant. So what did he do? So that he could reach everybody, he put it in a written word. Well, not everybody reads the Bible, and it's not in everybody's language, which is what most people will talk, most people would say. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't have to be in everybody's language. That's not the way it was written and the reason for it being written that way. I'm not here to tell you why it was written. That's not my job. That's your job to go and investigate and find out. I'm sorry for many of you, it's almost too late. I know. You guys have this idea with spirituality. Now, mind you, there's a lot of people out there talking about the spiritual aspects of things. And I don't care if I piss some of you off. Because as my friend Tyrone Phillips would say, it's better to be pissed off than to be pissed on. So I don't mind pissing any of you off when I say you have no concept, no clue of what spirituality is. How can you when you're not going to the source of the word? That doesn't make any sense. How can you take a word like spiritual, which comes from scripture, and then give it your own meaning, and give it your own concept, and give it your own idea? Isn't that called plagiarism? Isn't it called thievery? So those of you who have added your own concept as to what you think something is, without going to the source and finding out what he says it is, you're all thieves. You're taking from something that you have no right to take from. And I'm suggesting that all of you stop. Because eventually you're going to have to reap what you sow. You're going to have to pay for taking what doesn't belong to you. There's a penalty for everything we do. Don't you think if you sit up there and imagine what type of world you want it to be and shape it the way you want it, when it's not your world, that you're going to have to answer to the one who it belongs to in the first place? So stop. Just stop. I keep hearing people talk about what they think spirituality is. I'm not here to tell you what it is. I'm just telling you, once you put your own spin on it, then it becomes tainted. Once you put your own spin on it, it's not original anymore. It's not true. It's not, how would you say, the fruit of the vine. It becomes something imperfect. Now, here's the unique thing I was thinking the other day. Everything man produces is imperfect. Imperfect. Everything he produces, whether it be a car, a truck. I got a Hewlett-Packard computer here. This is a Hewlett-Packard 15. That's the model. Hewlett-Packard 15. I just got it on Sunday, thanks to the assistance of several people who decided to help me out when my computer, a second one, stopped working. I had it shipped out here through a great expense, and it stopped working right after it got here, right after TSA had a chance to go through things. So, this brand new Hewlett-Packard computer, no Wi-Fi, and the keyboard doesn't work. You'll see in the video about that, the next video that's coming up. Both of these will be up on the same day. I'm not going to be planning on doing this for 2 hours, but that one covers pretty much the information that we discovered. In a nutshell, this piece of junk thing that was called Brand, I don't know why they gave it a brand name called New. You guys do know that that's what brand new means, right? The brand is new, not the junk that it comprises of, because there's nothing new under the sun. So there is no such thing as a new car. There is no such thing as a new pair of jeans. There is no such thing as,
I got a new attitude.
There's no such thing. Everything has already been here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ron calling right now. And so I'm going to put Ron on the speakerphone so that while talking to Ron, you all can hear me talk to him while I'm talking to him and doing this video. What could I do for you, Mr. Ron?
Hey, what's up, Doug? How you doing?
We were just talking about you, me and the audience.
Really?
Yes.
I hope good stuff.
No, you're going to have to wait to listen like everybody else. I'm sorry. Now, let me give you a call back in about give me about an hour. And I'll give you a call back, okay? There were a couple of things I wanted to run by you anyway. All right, sir? All right, we'll talk. There you have it, people. That was Ron, the young man who has been there tirelessly slaving for you all and not getting paid. The Redress Commission has continued to be nonprofit. Now, the website is up. The redressright.com. If you typed in redressright.org, it will redirect you to .com, so don't worry about that. Redressright.com. Many of you may not know the details of the site, and many of you may have been wondering why the site hasn't been up, because it took a long time to get everything put in place, and we still have some more tweaking that we have to do to the site. All of the documents.
Where are those PDF files he kept talking about in them videos? I've been watching it. Does anybody know where it's...
Yeah, I've seen I've gone online, I typed in Redress Right, and I've seen all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Because when you go to Google and you do Redress or Redress Right, thank you. I appreciate that. So, in order to get to the PDFs and in order to get to many of the other aspects of the site, there is a membership fee. Now, at first I said, no, I don't want to do a membership fee because I don't want the people to blah, blah, blah. But, ladies and gentlemen, the Redress Commission and the Redress Right Organization has been putting on debt discharge classes at no charge to people. They have been expending their own time, expending their own monies. I apologize to all of you, but an organization cannot operate that way.
Well, why can't you just write a money order for $800 quadrillion and that'll take care of all your expenses?
Because you cannot do money orders to get what you want. You can only take care of your needs, and a corporation has no constitutional rights, no matter what the Supreme Court has stated. Corporations have no constitutional rights because a corporation cannot be sued. I know. You were told that people sue corporations all the time. I sue corporations all the time. But people don't look at their stupid case laws that these courts have. These are maxims and laws. See, the reason why a corporation can't be sued is because a corporation is not comprised of one individual.
Oh, yes, it is. I've seen an incorporated individual. He's the president, the CEO, the financial officer, the treasurer. He's all them things. The secretary, he's everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just junk they've created later. Just wait till you see the proof of all of this stuff that I'm talking about. See, while all of you are going on with your lives and having to deal with paying bills and one situation after another, I had an opportunity to study. Not just only did I get an opportunity to read through the Bible 2.5 times within a matter of a year, that I'd never done anything like that before. And I didn't rush. I took my time. Because while reading that book, one must take their time to meditate on the information that's there. So I took my time. And by taking my time, I enjoyed the experience. Now, again, this particular video is just me introducing myself back to all of you again, saying I appreciate your concern, those of you who really cared. I appreciate your worries. And as I say on the other video at the very end, there have been a lot of people out there who haven't been so kind, who have decided to kick, stab, punch, hit, shoot, murder, run over, trample over, hit with an axe, hit with bricks, like I was Reginald Denning. Sorry, Reginald, but you had it coming to you. You called them people the N-word, the N-I, gangster letter, A. And you can't do that. Okay, you just can't do that. By the way, in the other video, I say the N-I, gangster letter, A, that's mine. Okay, I spawned it, I birthed it, I carried it full term, and I'm going to bury it when the time comes. So that's mine. You want to borrow it, you better give credit where credit is due. All right. Now we're going to let Richard Dimplesfield finish telling you all, and then I'll finish telling you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was Richard Dimplesfield, and that was him explaining how the Bible is written. I'm going to stop before Mariah Carey plays. I'm going to stop and I'm going to explain what's going on. Most people have that book and they have no concept as to its design. There is, as I stated in the next video, a principle by which it is written. Every scripture is backed by two. At least two. So no scripture stands on its own. That's why you can't change it. They have made so many alterations.
Oh no, you Jehovah's Witnesses, you guys changed our either.
Whatever. Take that bull and fish it someplace else because it doesn't work. No one can take or add to that book without it being evident by contradiction after contradiction. When King James decided that he wanted to put forth such a publication, he decided that he was going to alter 600 verses. I don't know where he got the number 600 from, but it wasn't at the 300. That's right, but he changed 600. And since then, the so-called International Tribunal has determined that Bibles, Holy Scriptures, may only be produced by Bible societies. That's why every Bible, go ahead and look at the beginning of it. It'll tell you which Bible society produces it. And they're only permitted to change not 600, no, 500 verses. They can literally alter it, change its so-called context and meaning. Somebody as far knowing and as far reaching and as far powerful as the one who has named himself and who produced what his thoughts were in writing would have known that such a thing was going to happen. So what did he do? He made it tamper-proof. How did he make it tamper-proof? Well, a lot of Bibles have what's called cross-reference. So if a scripture says this thing here, there must be two other scriptures to support it. Jesus said, at the mouth of two witnesses, a matter is firmly established. So you have to have at least two witnesses. That's why the court system is so backwards, because they require only one witness. Don't worry about it. They have more than one witness. You didn't know it, and we're going to talk about it in just a moment. Now, what I'm getting at is Richard Dimplesfield, and I'm going to let Mariah Carey talk while I talk. She's going to be talking about visions. Yeah, we'll go to 3. What Richard was talking about is that the Bible makes promises about the future. One promise it has made is that there is going to be a lot of devastation coming very soon. I have known about it for 2 years now. I was secluded. I was in lockdown in a cell most of the time by myself with no access to the news, no access to newspapers. But I did have access to research because Fran, all of you know her, FJ, she would tirelessly send me volumes of documents. Now, although I could never have read through everything she sent me in the short amount of time that I did stay in there, it was invaluable, the information she was sending me. And you're going to hear about that in a couple of the videos, because a lot of the information I never studied. But it turns out that exactly what I was deducing and understanding was exactly what the reality was. Because those documents actually had others like Gene Elkins and who else was it? Gene Elkins. There was another one. Oh, Thomas Clark Nelson, talking about the exact same things, just in more detail. But I can only tell people, I know what I know because I know. And then I was looking at a documentary done by the InfoWars Nightly Report, and there was this doctor talking about the nyltrexicide or whatever that junk is, the altering of genes of seeds and animals and so forth, the eugenics whole program. And the doctor had mentioned a couple of things, how fluoride in the water, we didn't know exactly what fluoride did. We knew it was a poison, But it appears that there were several doctors who were actually doing the research to see the effect of fluoride on people. Since fluoride has been forcibly placed into many cities' waters, such as in California, I'm from California, the one thing that I do notice, we talk about the dumbing down of America. We think it was done through the schools. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't done through the schools. It was done through chemicals and the chemical reaction with brains. Well, you guys have heard of this thing called bipolar? They talk about the chemical imbalance, right? Well, that's what it was. They knew exactly what they were doing because they tested it out. And a lot of countries do not allow fluoride to be in their waters. Sorry that this stupid little window pops up, but I'll get rid of it right now. Don't have any internet access, so I can't take care of it. So let's go back up, Mariah. All right. Chemicals. But they knew this. They knew it from the beginning, what fluoride did. Everybody has been harping on, it's the mercury. Ladies and gentlemen, mercury is only a byproduct of the damage that's been done. What fluoride does is it literally either hyperactively intensifies a person's mode or spirit of being, or it makes them lethargic. I tell everyone that, and no, I haven't told you guys this, so I'm going to tell you something that I don't tell too many people. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've told more than 2 or 3 people. I go to the hospital to have an operation, to have a wandering eye corrected, a simple one-day surgery, and I end up being killed. And I when I say killed, I mean quite literally killed. I don't believe it was a mistake. I don't believe it was a fluke. 126 degrees was the temperature that they recorded. They knew it was higher than that, but the instruments only went to 126. Thanks to yours truly, now their instruments go a lot higher now to determine the body temperature of a person who has experienced malignant hyperthermia. I even called the Malignant Hyperthermia Center in America, and that's in UCLA, Los Angeles. Imagine that, of all places. I would experience that in the very same place where they had an experimental drug that they were working on. So I got to be their test dummy. But no, I don't believe that it was a coincidence. I've always known all my life that I didn't think like everybody else. My family knew it. I was the only one in my family that was treated differently. When you see the rest of my family members, no, they're not the pants sagging and talking the gangsta stuff. Oh, God, I can't stand the ignorance of people wanting to stereotype people. My mother happened to have been a school teacher. And my mother did that from the time I was in the 4th grade until, I think, about 11 years ago. Maybe 12 years ago, she retired. Now, what happened is, at the age of 3, and like I said, I don't tell this to people. That's why I said we're just going to talk so that you can get to know me. Because a lot of people say they listen to my videos and they think they know me by listening to them. And up to a small degree, yes. To a small degree, that might be true. But I'm going to get real with y'all for a moment. This ain't going to be the when keeping it real goes wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. What I should tell you guys, the songs that are playing in the background came from my cell phone. I had to download the video from YouTube and then use an extractor to extract the audio because I don't have internet access and my computer is messed up, so I can't play the normal music. So these are the simple songs that I'm going to do for now. And these are the songs that got me through, except for Low Key. I couldn't get him there. They didn't have him on the Department of Prisons, Federal Bureau of Prisons computer. But all of you who donated funds, I am forever in your debt. I truly appreciated that because it allowed me to get the MP3. It allowed me to get the music to keep myself in rhythm. Because without music, sorry, I'm not in rhythm. And I need melody. I need beat. I need something to keep myself balanced. And it's music. And I was often found in that place singing songs that I knew. Why? Because there is a rhythm to life. And everybody has a rhythm. They just, well, you guys hear, well, he's a natural this and he's a natural that. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Stephanie Mills, Teddy Pendergrass, all of these people had a rhythm about them.
Yes, and I'm going to even talk about Keith Richards and all of them too.
This is not just about the R&B artists, but I am more favored towards music. Doesn't matter the genre, as long as it's melodious or melodious, however you want to pronounce the dumb word. It has to have rhythm. Now, there were a lot of TV shows that had so-called black people talking about rhythm to people who were not quote-unquote black. I can't stand the word black. The computer I'm looking at is black, and when I put myself next to it, there is no comparison. But enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, at the age of 3, it is even after the operation that fried my brain, that the doctors told my family that I was going to be a vegetable. My family rushes to the hospital because they were told that I was dead. And when they got to the hospital, the doctor said, no, we were able to bring him back. You were able to bring him back? What the you mean you were able to bring him back? What did you do that was so spectacular that you brought him back? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my family gets there, and not only do I awake from a coma a couple of days later, but I'm able to talk, not loud. Many of you would probably say, well, that's the way you should have stayed, mother. Anyway, people, and that's my word, so y'all all are going to get to understand. Anyway is my word. It used to be shoot and so many other words, but anyway is my word. Can you tell them, Betty Wright? No, tell them one more time, Betty. Okay, one more time. At the age of 3, I walked down the stairs in our project apartment, and my father and mother are talking. My father didn't live with us, but that man, while he was alive, made it a point to speak with each one of us, his children, every single day. He either came by physically 4 to 5 times a week, or he called every single day of the week. Now, he didn't just stop there. With the 6 of us who were his, he had a Bible study weekly, individually with each of us, and he also had a family Bible study weekly with us, his children. And my father was self-employed. He wasn't a rich man, but he found a way to do all of that and still provide a roof over his own head. Well, my father is over there talking to my mother, and I come down the stairs, 3-year-old kid, crying. And he says, "Oh," and my mother says, "Oh," and my father says, "What's wrong?" And I say, "They keep picking on me." And my father says, "Oh, come here," and he puts his arm around my shoulder, and he has me sit in a chair next to my mother. And he says, if you had Jehovah as your friend, then nobody would pick on you. And I said, "Who's Jehovah?" And my father said that Jehovah is the greatest, most strongest person in existence. I said, "Really?" And my father said, "Yes. And if you became his friend, then you would never have to worry about anything." I told my father, "That's who I want as my friend. Then that way nobody will ever pick on me." Ladies and gentlemen, I have survived death in one way or another over 7 times. And like I say, the situation in the hospital, the more I thought about it, I told the doctor, I said, "I need you to run a test on the blood." I told him that 4 months in a row. He kept saying that he was going to schedule it, and he never did. The day of the operation, I recall this. I say to him, I say to the nurse first, "Nurse, what about the test you guys are supposed to," because I said I don't want people doing anything to me while I'm asleep. So I need to know what's going to keep me under the least amount of time. And she says, "Well, you have to wait till he gets here, but you'll have to ask him." So when he comes in, I ask him. He says, "Oh, you know what? We didn't have any time. So look, we use this on everybody else, and I've never had a problem, and so I don't foresee there be any problems." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Okay," because I thought he was a doctor. So I trusted the idiot. I remember counting 98. I remember getting down to 89. I don't remember counting to 87. And then I remember waking up. You know how I knew I woke up? And it wasn't a dream? Because the doctor said something's wrong. Now, I can't move. Anesthesia, I'm allergic to it, so it's got me completely numb. And the anesthesiologist goes, "What do you mean something's wrong?" He says, "He's awake." He says, "What do you mean he's awake?" Now, the anesthesiologist is seated above us. So the doctor is actually looking up and the anesthesiologist is looking down. So he says, "What do you mean he's awake?" He says, "He's awake. His eyes are moving. He's awake." So the anesthesiologist leans over, looks at me, and then reaches over and turns a knob. And I don't remember anything else after that. What the doctor says that my body began to get extremely hot. He said it got so hot that he could literally see the blood boiling in my veins. Ladies and gentlemen, look at your vein. Just look at any vein on your body. Okay? Do you see anything going on in your vein? Okay, he said he saw the blood boiling in the vein. So yes, I do believe in spontaneous combustion, and yes, I believe that other people have experienced that and that it has been documented, so nobody has to tell it to me. I was one of those who almost experienced it firsthand. The fact that they told my family that they were able to bring me back, so to speak, but they said I would be a vegetable because I was gone for too long and my body temperature was too high. I stayed above 118 degrees for 3 weeks.
But no, that's impossible. You couldn't have stayed away above 118 because you'd be dead.
Remember, the brain damage past 110 is irreparable or irreparable. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell people how disappointed I am. And I'm not patting myself on the back because that's not me unless it's you're standing in front of me and I go, "Excuse me," and I pat myself on the back. No, I'm not doing so at this time. In my course through life, I have been either the smartest person in my vicinity or among the smartest people in my vicinity. Now, I am not saying that I am smart. I have never told people that I'm smart. Because a person, if he's smart and he goes about telling people that he's smart, he's actually dumb. Because you don't have to prove how smart you are to anyone. That is not necessary. That's been my belief from day one. But I had to teach myself how to read again. And I had to do this all the time pretending that I knew how to read words. I had to teach myself how to recognize words. Do you guys know how hard that is? At the age of 20? Well, 21 is when this happened. I just turned 21. Do you know how hard it is to reteach yourself something like that? Something like that. You have to reteach it to yourself, and you can't tell anybody. You just have to play it off. You have to pretend. I'm not an actor. Never tried to be an actor. Everybody else said I would have been a natural. But ladies and gentlemen, I had to pretend. So, what do? Well, as the years go on, my energy levels start to decrease. We don't know why. I'm going to doctors. I get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Everybody else is looking at me. They see my size. They're going, "Man, stop playing. Let's go." And I'm looking. I said, "No, I'm too tired." And they would literally think I was lying to them. Most of them knew me, so they knew I wouldn't lie about something trivial. So it wouldn't be just something I would just come up with. Oh, I'm sorry. Patti LaBelle, Whitney Houston, and that's Johnny Gill. Okay? So I just want y'all to know that we put it together for y'all. Because I didn't just download videos. I downloaded concerts and the entire 300 minutes. Some of them are 3 hours, some of them are 4 hours, and it's all on YouTube. And so I'm going to put some of this to use later. Now, keep in mind that I play the music in the background and have been doing this since the beginning. I don't make any money off of these videos. This is not for a commercial venture. However, even if I did make money off of it, please understand that these videos are directed at education and informing, and it falls under the Fair Use Act. Now, it doesn't fall under the Fair Use Act if I'm doing advertisement for, let's say, Zest deodorant soap. And I say, well, that was in the middle of a documentary. We did an intermission, and in the middle of the documentary, we had the commercial. Okay, none of this is for commercial purposes. And so that's the issue. YouTube understands this. At first, they didn't quite understand it. They didn't think others understood it. So they have come to grasp it. Getting back to all of this, see, like I said, I was just going to talk to you so that you guys get an idea. As I have grown through life, I have not been able to remember a lot of things. I remember that being 3 years old, I remember that situation walking down the stairs, telling that to my father and my mother. Now, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So, I know what this is. This is Michael. Okay, I'm positive this is Michael. Let me prove it to y'all. See? Told you it was Michael. Somebody need to stop that fool from snapping his fingers. You don't be snapping your fingers at me. You know who you think you are. I'm sorry. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my life has been a venture. I know for a fact that it has not been a coincidence. I don't need to even try to even imagine telling people it's been a coincidence. I can tell you that in 2001, I knew that there was going to be an event that would take place, that actually did take place, that they referred to as 9/11. Told it to people in advance. I told it to people well in advance of it actually occurring. Then we have the issue of my 2 years of peace without any problem. Everything I touched literally turned to gold. My brother, I worked for him, and he took care of all my expenses, and he made over, $400,000? And that was profit. And then my friend, who also then came in and assisted me, made $351,000 profit off of a property that was originally worth $179,000, another one that was $108,000. Now I'm saying $351,000 profit. That was on one of the property, the $179,000. He made an $80,000 profit off of the home that was $108,000. Okay, everything I touched turned to gold. Everybody wanted me to come work for them. I wasn't really working, more so than just doing what I do. Literally, that's what I do. I know how to put things together. I know how to take a puzzle and put the pieces together where they work with each other. That's what I do. That's how I look at the law. The law is nothing but a puzzle, and I put the pieces where they belong. Let me show you an example of this. We were told that the people who walked in the court saying, yo, I'm the CEO of that corporation, that stuff worked. Yeah, it worked. You know what we realized after my experience? Now, I didn't go in there and say I'm the CEO of the corporation. I put that in writing. But we realized, ladies and gentlemen, that they were allowing some of these cases to go through just to keep people from hitting the mark. It was what they say, allowed a couple of small fish to go by so they can get the bigger fish. So that they can make people look stupid in the end and make them look like what's going on, to be in despair. Because, well, they said this worked for Tommy and Jim, but when Susan and Mary tried it, it didn't. Okay, that's what they were wanting. And we all fell for it. We were out there saying so much stuff, calling ourselves sovereign Americans. I kept trying to tell people you cannot be a sovereign citizen because a citizen is a subject. A citizen cannot be sovereign, ever. Even, you go back and look at the law, it says the sovereignty exists within the citizenship or the people. We were told not to be going out there telling people we were a United States citizen. A United States citizen is a second-class citizen. Wait till you see the next video. Wait till you see the next video and see how much of a lie that was. Wait till you see how much of a protection being a United States citizen actually is, as opposed to saying you're not a United States citizen. When people are in there saying they're not a United States citizen, what they're literally saying is that they are a rebel. They are a war rebel and an insurrectionist against the interests of the United States. And then when you find out that the courts are every court case is a debt collection case. Every single case. Every single lien is a mechanics lien. Every single case is a debt collection case. If you don't believe me, go back and look at the Judiciary Code, section 3001 through 3019. That's called the Debt Collection Procedures Act. That's the very same section, 3002, section 15, which says, pay attention, United States means a federal corporation. So pull up Title 28 of the United States Code and type in the word private debt collector. And you'll see that the United States is a private debt collector for the United States. The corporation is a debt collection agency. And that's why the IRS, that's right, you heard me say it, the debt collection agency for the United States Corporation. And then when you read it, you'll see that they can use any and all means necessary in order to secure the debt. That's what's going on here. That's why they're treating people the way they are, because they're calling all of you debtors to the United States. Which means that when you go in court, nothing you say means anything. Not one word you say has any bearing on anybody, on anything. But that's the problem. People are thinking that they're going into a courtroom. That's not a courtroom. You're just in a debt collection proceeding. Now, let me explain this so that you guys get it, so that you understand it. And then in the next video, you'll hear it a little bit more. Now, this is going to be the saddest day of your lives, okay? Because I brought you all here today for a bit of bad news. When you are pulled over by a police officer, no, don't look back. You see, because of the obligation that you just gave that man who just said, do you understand? And you said, yes, I do. Yeah. Every time you guys meet up with one of those agents of that agency, you're giving them consent. Now, I'm going to read it to you. I've done it on video before, and I'm going to keep putting this into your heads until you get it. Police officer, when they tell you, well, I have to place you under arrest. Why do you have to place me under arrest? Well, because blah, 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 blah. So you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to speak to an attorney. You have the right to do this. You have the right to do that. You have the right to do that. If you give up the right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand the rights that I've just read to you? And you go, yeah, I understand. Okay, he says anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So you just agreed to testify against yourself in court. Don't look at me. Go back and look. He says, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to speak to an attorney. You have the right to this. You have the right to that. Do you understand the rights I just read to you? Why are you answering for you? Huh? Why are you sitting up there saying, shoot, man, that's my buddy. No, man, I got his back. I'm willing to do this bid for him because he did a bid for me. Come on, you. Go on now. People, pay attention. It's all about you. Y-O-U. A group. Go ahead and look up the legal definition for you and see what you pull up. And then look at the history of the word you. You never applies singularly. It always applies to a group. So who is you? Look at the 14th Amendment, the amendment that everybody's been telling us to stay away from, saying that you don't want to be a 14th Amendment citizen. Go ahead and look at the 14th Amendment and see what the amendment says. Who is you? You are war rebels, insurrectionists. And remember, the court always talks to you. I talked in the other video about a young man who had an attorney tell him, the only right you have is the right to remain silent. Now, this was after the attorney had gone through the probable cause hearing and bail hearing and never said a word. And told the judge, Your Honor, we have no comment as of this time. Okay. You know that man made that attorney file something on the record in response to what was being said? Ladies and gentlemen, the police officer is an officer of the court. The attorneys are officers of the court. So anything you say can and will be used against you. The attorney is not your attorney. He is the court's attorney. And so when you tell the court, yes, I need an attorney, there is no constitutional right to an attorney. There's a constitutional right to counsel of choice, but no constitutional right to an attorney of choice. Are you paying attention? That's what the Supreme Court has said. Okay, nobody has a constitutional right to choose their attorney, because there is no constitutional right to the attorney of choice. It does not exist. This is all about you sitting up there and testifying against yourself, and the court giving you a witness against yourself, an enemy, a Benedict Arnold. I had 2 attorneys that they assigned to me after they told me I wasn't going to be allowed to speak for myself. Oh, by the way, guys, from day one, I reserved all my rights. So I never accepted the rights of you. I reserved my rights. I told them I reserve all of my rights. And I stated that from the very beginning, and it was UCC 1-308 on every document. Okay? I'll take care of that with them later. This was necessary because there were other things going on that I needed to take care of, and we need to kill some other noise. Well, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, is none of you realize where you're at. The United States is in a state of war. And as being in a state of war, that means the Constitution has been suspended. The law of war now takes precedent. But I help you understand how to get around that stupidity. Let me explain to you what stupidity is going on. Corpus Juris Secundum, CJS, that's the book where all the precedent cases are. So if there's a case on this or a case on liens or a case on that, you're going to find it in Corpus Juris Secundum, and that has the official precedent-setting cases. Now, in there, under United States, it says the United States is a body corporate. Okay, it's a body corporate, a political subdivision. Okay, that's fine. It's a corporation. It says, and the United States is considered a person, although not in all instances is that applied. Fine, that the corporate residence of the United States exists within the United States. Okay, we know these things, don't we? Well, did you know that anytime the United States engages in commercial activity, commercial business, it abandons its sovereignty and is to be treated as any other corporation?
Wait, could you say that again, Willis?
Yeah, I'll say it again. When the United States engages in commercial activity, trading stocks, trading bonds, trading cases, trading this, trading that, security markets, when they engage in commercial activity, they abandon sovereign capacity and are just like any other corporation. So you're going to find out that the military is controlling everything. But it's not the military you think. So everybody thinks the U.S. military is controlling the United States. You're wrong. The military that's controlling the United States is the United Nations. It controls the entire world. If you don't believe me, go back and look. When every nation became a member of the United Nations, they were required to give part of their military to the United Nations, which means the United Nations controlled the military of all these nations that are a part of the United Nations. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to the agreement. They had to donate part of their military to the United Nations, who controlled the military of those nations. Notice the agent is notice the principal. Notice the principal is notice the agent. You see, if I take a cup of water and I put a drop of poison in it and I say, here, it only has one drop, go ahead and drink it. A drop of poison in water makes the entire cup poison. So just because they had a fraction of people from the military, part of the quote-unquote military being that of the United Nations peacekeeping force, that makes all of it part of the United Nations peacekeeping force. So when the United Nations enters sanctions, who took the lead? In Syria, Iraq, who took the lead? In Bosnia. Was it not the United States? Said they were acting under United Nations, blah, 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 blah. No, wait, I want you to pay attention to what I just said, because I just got it. They were acting under United Nations resolutions. Why couldn't they act under their own resolution? Oh, guys, this is at the, the Hall of Fame. The Rock Hall of Fame. And, or whatever that thing is called. But this is Papa Stables and Mabel Stables of the Staple Singers. Staples! Okay. I'm not talking about Staples, the so-called copy printing software store. I'm talking about the Staple Singers who know how to sing I'll Take You There and Let's Do It Again. And as they're saying right now, respect yourself. And what is that one? Up, 2, 3, 4. I can't even think of the song because this one's in my head. I can't think of the name of that song, but that was the group that I grew up saying that was my favorite group. Then it was the Gladys Knight and the Pips, and then it was the Spinners, and then we went from there. And to this day, I still hold on to each one of them. Okay, so that you all know what's going on, the United Nations has the world under a military control. Now remember, the military of the United Nations itself being a commercially trading corporation, have no authority either. But we don't want you to go that far, okay? Because, sorry, there are things that have been prophesied that you won't be able to stop. So let me bring you down a little bit. Calm down, buddy. Just come on down off that wall. No. You're going to hang yourself. Look at that rope that's around your neck. You can't see what they did while you were climbing up there? They want you to fall. They're going to yank you down. So we want you to focus on the building called the Court Building. And we just want you to go to places like Fidelity.com. And we just want you to find out how to navigate that site. There are videos on YouTube. I did one. I don't remember where it is, but we show people how to utilize Fidelity.com to find their information about their birth certificate and all that. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the birth certificate is referred to as the birth certificate or infant estate. It is evidence of your estate, but you didn't know that. There are so many other things associated, so many other things associated with the information we're talking about right now. We got the infant estate, we got gaining control of your securities, we got all of you sending your paperwork to the Treasury. Please don't send nothing else to the Treasury. The Treasury is not the place to send stuff anymore. It used to be, but it is not any longer. They changed it. Those of you who were sending your mortgages to the United States Department of Agriculture, look, ladies and gentlemen, you're sending it to the wrong place. All of you who are sending it to the CFO, you're sending it to the wrong place. And I was one of those who advise people to do stuff like that with some of those because I had not looked at the so-called process and procedure more thoroughly. The situation works out like this. It is, what am I trying to say? I'm sorry, I'm looking at a situation going on right outside my window, and so I'm checking out to see what's going on, but I think I understand. The procedure is to send it through fiscal services. Go online and get a copy of the, let me see, what is that document called? Federal income withholding for 2013, 2014. And look at how each one of them have a fiscal service department. All of these federal agencies have a fiscal services department. Every federal agency conducts commercial business. They're traded openly. That's what their CAFRs. Now, you can still bring up the comprehensive tax filings. Don't do the comprehensive annual financial reports because it wasn't always called the comprehensive annual financial reports. So, do the comprehensive tax filings, all inclusive, proving that they are commercial trading corporations engaging in commercial business and that they're privately owned. Those documents prove they're privately owned. And if they're privately owned, they can't be government because the government must work for the people, act for the people, cannot be privately owned and call itself the United States government. By the way, the military has no sovereignty. The video I did yesterday, which will be up when I put this one up, and this one will probably be up by Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, the first week of March. That video lists at least 9 different EIN numbers for the Department of Defense. And when you look at their records, it shows that they continually engage in commercial activity. Go back to 2001, September the 10th, where Donald Rumsfeld gets on the 6 o'clock evening news. I think I was looking at CBS, but he was on all 3 stations back then. That's when they all played the same junk. And they still do the same thing now. That was just the beginning of them playing the same junk all the time. And you'll see Donald Rumsfeld say that an investigation is underway. There is approximately $4 trillion that is unaccounted for at the Department of Defense. Did you know that all of those papers, all of those files were in the Pentagon when it was hit by the missile? The truck, I don't know what it was hit by, but it was right in that section that was hit. As I told people, dang the luck they had during that time. So, there's a lot more, and a lot more proof. I don't have access to the internet, so I can't actually show you the codes. But if you want to know about the infant estate, then corpus juris secundum under infant, you'll pull up that information. And by the way, you also have the right to have the denial of infancy placed on the record. By the way, all of you, I don't want you doing any more business on the public record. All of your business should always be on the private record. And it should be private, personal, confidential communications. Everything you mail out, whether it be to a phone company, a tax company, whether it be to your mama, your papa, your grandmama, I don't care who you mail something out to, you might as well get it printed up on all of your envelopes from this point on. That you don't want none of your business in the public. That you are a private citizen of the United States. Go ahead and look at the other video, the one that's right up after this one, has just about the same title. It's just this one says he's back. The other one just says a promise made is a promise kept. Okay? That video will explain to you exactly what you need to know about the so-called U.S. citizen, the truth about it, as opposed to the misdirection. Yes, I know there are a bunch of codes and laws out there that support people saying it was a second-class citizen. And in many ways, it is a second-class citizen when used in the way that those codes and laws use it. Because the United States citizen, a private United States citizen, is not under the code. The code does not apply to them. Remember, the code is a military code. That we're under martial law, so the code is military. It's been military. There's been a declaration of war. For one reason or another, continuously. The ADAA, the National Defense of America Act, that didn't just happen in 2011, 2012. That's been going on since 1952, from what I understand, or even longer. They just keep updating it. So please understand, this has been military control, military issue from day one. The codes are military codes. If you don't believe me, then look up courts, COURTS, plural, courts, and then you're going to put a dash, no space, a dash right after S, and then you're going to put right after that dash, that hyphen, you're going to put martial. So that dash is part of courts martial. Martial singular, no S. You'll find out when you look under jurisdiction under courts martial that that's exactly what's going on. They have jurisdiction in every venue, every corner, every facet. They even have jurisdiction to do their courts martial in Vietnam, in Lebanon, in North Korea. They can do it in the middle of the ocean or on the top of the moon if they wanted to. It says they get to choose wherever jurisdiction they're going to do whatever they do. So all this arguing jurisdiction, stop it. You can't argue jurisdiction. 14th Amendment says that they cannot be questioned when they're seeking to correct a debt. So go watch the video and you'll see how I am now questioning them and how it was somewhat helpful in this process of my being allowed no longer in there. Okay? Now, I give Jehovah his credit because he was the one who helped me to understand that I wasn't going to be there very much longer the night before they brought me to court. And I had no idea I was going to court, but I knew I was going to court. I don't know how to explain that to y'all. It's just the way it is. Okay? Just the way it is. Now, in that video, I talk about the intro and the extra, about how I knew that this was going to happen, how I told it to FJ and a bunch of other people. I even wrote it down, recorded it in 2004, 2005. I recorded it 2003. I wrote it down and told people over the years. Why? Because I knew it was going to happen. There was nothing. I wasn't going to do anything to prevent it. So, again, this was just me taking the time to talk to all of you. And all of you who want to be on that spiritual journey, trip, and all that junk, y'all knock yourselves out. Y'all go ahead and have that adventure. But I'm not going to have those conversations with people no more. Because it is completely contrary to Scripture. And I don't have time to be explaining Scripture to any of you. The basics or any other thing. Because you don't have enough time. You're going to waste time. So to keep me from being frustrated with trying to help people who don't want help. Okay? It's just a waste of time. I've had the opportunity of seeing man at its worst, at its best. I've seen man do so many stupid things over the last couple of months, and I'm still amazed. You see, I know why he has to bring about the destruction of all this ignorance. I see why, I understand why. So, what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, the next time that I have an opportunity, I will come and get your attention. I'm glad that Luther is bringing this to an end. May all of you have a nice day, a nice evening, nice time. And I am out of here.